You wake up, and your body feels like it has been hit by a truck. Your lower back aches, your hands are raw, and your mind is wrapped in a thick fog. You just spent your entire Friday night helping a friend move out of their fourth-floor apartment. You carried awkwardly taped boxes until 2 in the morning while your friend mostly stood around. But you did it. Because you are a good friend. You are reliable. You grab your phone, squinting at the bright screen, and open social media. And there it is. Your friend's latest story. They are at a sunny brunch spot, laughing and holding a mimosa. The caption reads, "Weekend vibes." They look completely rested. You are lying in your dark bedroom, exhausted, feeling like a discarded tool. That sinking, hollow ache in your chest right now is not just physical fatigue. It is resentment. It is the quiet, crushing realization that your kindness is not being valued. It is just being consumed. We call this being nice. We wear the label of the easygoing guy like a badge of honor. But underneath the surface, it is a trap. It is the paradox of the chronic people pleaser. You give, bend, and sacrifice your own energy, secretly hoping that one day, this constant output of generosity will be converted into love, respect. But the world does not work like an emotional vending machine. You cannot put nice coins in and expect loyalty to drop out. The truth is, the nice guy trap is rarely about genuine kindness. It is a hidden contract you made with the world without telling anyone. You agreed to suppress your own needs, your voice, and your exhaustion in exchange for feeling safe and accepted. Think back to the moment your friend asked you to help them move. When the text popped up, did you actually want to do it? Or did you feel a sudden spike of anxiety? Did you stare at the message trying to think of an excuse before guilt washed over you and your fingers automatically typed out? We say yes because we are terrified of the alternative. We are terrified of the awkward pause, the potential disappointment, the microscopic shift in someone's tone that signals they are annoyed. We shrink ourselves down because, at some point in our lives, we learned that having inconvenient needs made us unlovable. This habit of endless compliance does not just ruin our weekends. It bleeds into every corner of our lives, silently dictating our worth. A few months after that moving incident, I found myself sitting in a cold, glass-walled office for a salary negotiation. I had spent weeks preparing. I knew exactly what my experience was worth. I walked into that room, promising myself I would not back down. But then the hiring manager leaned back, smiled a corporate smile, and threw out a number. It was a low, insulting number. And the moment that number hung in the air, my entire physiological state shifted. In psychology and behavioral economics, there is a concept known as the anchoring effect. It is a cognitive bias where human beings rely too heavily on the first piece of information offered, the anchor, when making decisions. Whoever drops the anchor first controls the geography of the entire conversation. Instead of resetting the room and confidently stating my actual worth, my brain scrambled to accommodate his low anchor. I nervously counteroffered slightly above his terrible offer. I lost thousands of dollars in a matter of seconds, all because my nervous system could not tolerate the temporary discomfort of disagreeing with someone in power. The psychological mechanism behind saying yes to moving heavy boxes and accepting a terrible salary is exactly the same. It is the fundamental belief that your worth is negotiable, and keeping the peace is more important than protecting yourself. We convince ourselves that being low maintenance makes us desirable. But being low maintenance usually just means you are absorbing the maintenance yourself. You are doing all the emotional labor to ensure no one else feels uncomfortable, even if it leaves you completely depleted. You see this pattern everywhere. It happens when a waiter brings you the wrong order, and instead of sending it back, you silently eat a meal you do not even like, apologizing when they pick up your half-empty plate. Or it happens when a coworker catches you at 5:55 on a Friday. They ask you to take a quick look at a project. You know it will take hours, and you already have plans. But you smile, say it is fine, and suddenly you are staring at a glowing monitor at 8 o'clock at night. You tell yourself you are just being a team player, but your jaw is clenched the entire train ride home. The resentment ledger in your mind is adding another tally mark, building a wall of bitterness. If you are recognizing yourself in this right now, I need you to pause and listen carefully. Your chronic niceness, your inability to advocate for yourself, is not a character flaw. It is not because you are weak. It is a brilliant survival strategy that you developed a long time ago. Somewhere in your history, you learned that being agreeable kept you safe from unpredictable anger. You learned that being useful was the only reliable way to earn a seat at the table. You adapted perfectly to a flawed environment. But you are an adult now. The armor that kept you safe when you were small is now just keeping you trapped. It is too heavy to carry anymore. Breaking out of this trap is about learning the mechanics of grounded self-advocacy. Let us start with how you say no in your personal life. When a people pleaser finally tries to say no, they usually ruin it by over-explaining. They offer paragraphs of apologies and long-winded justifications. Here is the painful truth about human communication. Guilt invites negotiation. When you give a long paragraph, it sounds like a plea for permission to opt out. Instead, you need to practice the short boundary combined with a generous alternative. If someone asks you to give up your weekend to help them move, you do not need to invent an emergency. You deliver a clean, short sentence. You say, I will not be able to help with the heavy lifting this weekend, but I would love to bring you guys some takeout once you are unpacked. You hold the line to protect your energy, but you offer a bridge to protect the relationship. A clear no is far kinder than a resentful yes. In professional settings or in relationships with a constant push and pull, you have to learn to drop the anchor yourself. You have to overcome the fear of stating what you want first. If you are going into a negotiation, you must define the starting line. When you state your number or your needs first, clearly and without rushing to fill the silence afterward, you frame the entire reality of the conversation. You force the other person to operate within your geography. It feels terrifying the first few times you do it. Your voice might shake. But the moment you drop that anchor and simply sit in the quiet tension that follows, you reclaim your authority. You stop waiting for someone else to decide what you are worth. To drop that anchor without crumbling, you need one final tool. In the negotiation world, they call it your best alternative to a negotiated agreement or your walk-away point. You cannot set a boundary if you are absolutely terrified of what happens if the other person says, no deal. If you are negotiating a salary, your alternative might be staying at your current job or continuing to interview. If you are setting a boundary with a friend who constantly drains you, your alternative might be stepping back from that friendship for a while. You have to locate the part of yourself that knows you will survive even if this specific situation falls apart. When you know your walk-away point, you stop operating from desperation. You stop acting like a hostage in your own life. I remember the first time I actually put these pieces together. It felt incredibly unnatural. My heart was pounding in my throat like a trapped bird. I told a friend I could not cover for a mistake they made, using just one short sentence. Later that week, I sat in another office, and before the client could offer me a fraction of my rate, I stated my price first. I dropped the anchor. In both moments, I braced for the sky to fall. I waited for the anger, the rejection, the total abandonment that my anxious brain had promised me. But the sky did not fall. The client paused, thought about it, and agreed. My friend was slightly disappointed, but they figured it out themselves. The world did not end just because I stopped carrying the weight of it. Some people might walk away when you stop being endlessly compliant. Let them. I want you to truly hear that. Let them walk away. The people who get angry at your boundaries are the ones who are benefiting from you having none. Their anger is not a sign that you did something wrong. It is proof that the boundary was desperately needed. You do not have to buy your friendships with exhaustion. You do not have to purchase your safety by being cheap, quiet, and easily managed. You are allowed to be inconvenient. You are allowed to have limits that disappoint other people. Take a slow, deep breath. Look at the ledger of resentment you have been carrying around and give yourself permission to finally throw it away. You are safe now. Start building the walls that will protect your energy so you can finally have the quiet, beautiful, and dignified life you are actually meant to live.